Shalom everybody, this is Brian. Just got off work, third shift and going into my part-time job, or waiting to go into it. I haven't done a dream post in quite a while because past month all my dreams have been either soul dreams or enemy dreams, or just this haunted, fuzzy, confusing, what sense does that make kind of thing. And when your spirit gets troubled about something, it happens a lot. I think sometimes the spirit tries to give you a dream and your soul gets in the way, or the spirit tries to give you a dream and the enemy gets in the way, or God's just not going to talk to you about what you're asking about, which happens sometimes, especially if he's told you the same answer 7 or 8 times, which is in my case. So your mind is kind of open for the enemy to come in and mess with you. But I was talking about the duality of dreams. Symbols. It's hard to pin things down saying this is always this, because things have a dual meaning. Because sometimes the same source can have 2 different outcome reflections. It's like I'm wearing a blue shirt. The color blue in a dream can mean like revelation, or like prophetic gifting, like revelation, inspiration, revelation, like something just comes to you out of nowhere. It can also mean depression, because the capability to have revelation, that what makes you able to have revelation, that deepness, that insight, also causes depression. So not sadness, but depression. The color red can mean power or anger, because what makes you powerful can also make you angry. It's that same capacity. The capacity for boldness, it can make you powerful or it can make you angry. The capacity for revelation can also make you depressed. So that's like a duality of these things. Yellow is often the color of the mind, your teaching, but the mind is where knowledge comes from. The mind is also where fear comes from. So the active mind can give you a lot of knowledge and allow you to teach, but it can also make you very fearful. So in a dream, there's a lot of context. There's usually color connotation, like a bright blue might be revelation, while a dark blue would be depression, or a bright red might be power, but a dark red might be anger, or a bright yellow might be like teaching or knowledge. It's not the soul, but a dark yellow could be fear. And it kind of works the same way in numbers sometimes. It's like 7 is normally completion. But the 7th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Zayin, which is a sword, so it cuts. One thing is completed, it cuts off something else. Imagine like in a woman's womb, the cells are constantly dividing. One cell is completed. When a baby's being made, one cell is completed, then it divides. So there's completion and division. 7 can be both a completion and a division. 8 is kind of more of a Hindu concept. I think it's also a Hebrew concept of 8 can be, it's a new beginning. But for something new to begin, something else must be destroyed, or something else must come to an end. So 8 is an ending and a new beginning. 7 is a completion and a division, but 8 is a new beginning, but also a termination of something else that came before, the replacement of something else. It's a replacement. So 8 is a new beginning and a replacement. 7 is completion and division. So you have this kind of duality of concepts in dreams. Certain other symbols too. I mean, I know somebody had a dream about a small pig, and in the context it's a piggy bank. But that was a Jewish person, then pigs generally unclean. But they're a German person, a pig is a symbol of luck. So these things can mean very different things contextually in the culture. Scripturally, like a dog in Scripture was either a Gentile, someone out of covenant, or which a Gentile means out of covenant, or it could mean a male prostitute, or just what we call a man whore, but or a gigolo. And on the Gentile thing, there's actually 2 words for Gentile. One is goy, which is actually someone that's completely Gentile, and one is ger. It's like someone who keeps the commandments but they're Jewish. Or like a native, a foreign, someone born in the land. They're not born to Jewish parents, but they still keep the Torah. So it's kind of these two different words for Gentile. But a dog would be someone totally Gentile. Like they don't have a renewed mind. They don't have a heart of flesh. They are just totally antithetical to God's commandments, and they have no concept of God, no concept of God's principles. They just have no moral compass whatsoever. That's a far different thing from a righteous Gentile. But a dog, like I said, a dog in Scripture can be a Gentile, like a complete Gentile, like someone who has just no concept of covenant, no fear of God at all, or it can mean a male prostitute. Even if you're straight biblical, in Middle Eastern cultures, they don't keep them as pets. Muslims don't have dogs. They don't keep them as pets. They're like this strange animal. Why would you bring that in your house? Like, why would, like a coyote or a possum to us would be a strange thing to bring into your house. They don't bring them in their house. So if a Muslim has a dream about a dog, it's a different thing than an American has a dream about a dog. So an American has a dream about a dog would normally indicate loyalty and friendship to us. But to a Muslim or someone, or even a Christian from a Middle Eastern country, it's like a Palestinian Christian or Arab Christian or Egyptian Christian, like Michael Yusuf's Egyptian Christian, they would look at it as like a scavenger. It's like this is a scavenger animal, like a jackal or hyena or coyote. So it's a totally different context. There's also play on words and some things, like a coyote. Coyote to us has double meaning. Here in the Southwest, the coyote is a human trafficker. A coyote, to most people, is like an annoying, predatory, somewhat dangerous animal. But to the Southwest, a coyote is a human trafficker. There's a play on words about, like the word March. Someone gave me a prophetic word about March 4th. And I didn't make a lot of sense it being an actual date, because it's a Monday. The thing that the word was about was a wedding, but the weddings are on Mondays normally. But March 4th, I looked it up and I saw a meme that said March 4th, the only date in the year that's also a commandment to March 4th to go forward. And this kind of thing's very oftenly used in Judaism. The Bible's full of puns and play on words, actually. Even Caesar makes a play on words in Latin. So the Latins and the Hebrews both use a lot of play on words. I don't know about the Greeks, but Caesar used, Pilate. Pilate used play on words. And all the Hebrew people were constantly using these word plays. Yeshua used word plays and he was here. So if Yeshua used word plays in his earthly ministry in the Gospels, when Yeshua gives us a dream, it makes sense he used word plays as well. So I took the March 4th as a commandment to March 4th, just to go forward. Not as a literal date of March 4th. But in dreams, we cannot be so linear in our thinking that it has to be the first thing that comes to mind or the most obvious meaning. Because you have to let the Spirit interpret for you, and it's not always linear. It's a very right brain thing. It kind of comes to you and you just know it. There's what comes to your logical mind, what makes logical sense, and there's the actual meaning. And it's not as though it'll just come to you. And it just kind of comes to you, that's when you know what it is. And it's usually not the most logical thing. Like March 4th, okay, the 4th of March in the calendar. March 4th, the expression to March 4th, or use it as a wordplay. There's a lot of things like that in Scripture. I was trying to think of some good ones in English. But you kind of get the message. Is that things can have a dual meaning. Not everything is just the one meaning. Like you have a dream when you're wearing a blue robe. Well, it could mean you are walking in Revelation, or it could mean you're totally covered in depression. Because it comes from the same source. You're wearing a red robe. It could mean you're walking in power. You're walking in anger. It comes from the same source. And it can actually be both at once. Because the revelatory people are highly depressed. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Elijah, King David, almost every revelatory person in the Scripture we would say they had depression. Some of them beg to die. Like Elijah just sits under a broom tree and tells God to kill him. Jonah wanted God to kill him. Moses wanted God to kill him. I mean, there's a lot of people in scriptures that were at that level of depression and despair. But they're very prophetic. And what makes you give the ability to tap into that revelatory gift is also going to make you depressed. Moses had a lot of power. He also killed a lot of people. Had a lot of anger, too. He killed an Egyptian. David had a lot of power. He killed a lot of people, too. The man who told him about Saul dying got chopped in little pieces right in front of him. So what gives you access to one also can bring forth the other. And like we talked about the duality of numbers, 7 can be completion, but if something's completed, it's also dividing off of the first thing. Once it completes, it divides. It's like a cell. Once it's complete, it divides. 8 is new beginning, but if there's a new beginning, there must be a termination of something else. Something else must have passed away. So just remember those concepts. You know about dreams. It's not linear. It's a duality. Not to get too Taoist on you, but it's a duality. There's a flip side to everything, and I don't follow the Taoism or dualism, but there is that yin-yang concept of you see the black and see the white with the little 2 dots, that there's a flip side to everything. It's like a coin. To us, it could be a coin. There's that flip side to all of it. It's the same coin is power and anger. The same coin is revelation and depression. The same coin is knowledge and fear. So the same coin is completion and division. The same coin is new beginnings and old endings. So just remember that when you have a dream, it's not just the one, it can be both at once, or it could be either side of this coin. And it's not always the side we wish it was. But I hope that helps you guys understand your dreams a little bit more. Just don't get so stuck in the left brain thinking. You have to use your right brain a little more. You don't force it. It's not a math problem. Don't treat it like a math problem. Treat it like a creative idea. You just have to sit and wait for it to come to you. Because it comes to you in that still small voice. It doesn't come to you with that ching 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 of a calculator or a cash register. It doesn't come like that. It comes like a whisper. So, shalom to your hearts. Sweet dreams.